Nazi Party.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there wasn't one scientist who could declare that, because unless he had taken an oath, he wouldn't have been able to be in that key position in their jet propulsion. So I think many of the things that we saw in the skies immediately after World War II, that was a whole group of Nazi scientists jump-starting our space program, jump-starting our missile program.
Yeah, and of course, this ties into, the previous era that the Nazis, because they had to get the if they were the ones who brought it to America, and I guess even some Nazis even went to Russia. Soviet. But this technology had to come from somewhere, and of course there are many stories about that the Nazis had encountered another race. I mean, these also connects with the theories of the hollow earth and all this kinds of stuff, which you of course bring up in your book also. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I am totally fascinated by this aspect.
Yeah.
And I am so amazed that we never see this in the history books. But we have to recognize that the whole activation of Nazism is based on occult tradition, Thule Society, the Vril Society, the Black Sun, all of those groups, they believed that they were in contact with aliens.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why it's so hard to put that in the history books. We have brilliant histories of World War II, and they seem to just completely ignore the occult connection.
They do.
Now, I think it was History Channel here in the U.S. that does have an excellent, I think they did a 3-part on Nazis and the occult, and that's about the only thing, the only place I've seen this.
Yeah.
But to ignore the impact, of Edward Buter Lytton's book, or novel, The Coming Race,
yes,
and connecting that with the whole theory of the Hyperboreans under the earth, and then the mediums, or we would call them channelers today, who were sitting there making contact with aliens who were allegedly giving them the information of how to build these spacecraft.
Yeah.
And this is not conjecture, this is not science fiction, this is fact.
Exactly.
That secret societies created Nazism.
Yeah.
Hitler was a member of these secret societies.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, who would believe, even today, because I'm sorry, and I'm not condemning all, and I'm not making an allness statement, because I'm kind of strict with my semantics, so I never say everybody, but a good many of the present day channelers are very arrogant. They know nothing of the history. They know nothing that in the 1860s channelers were claiming they were talking to aliens.
Yeah.
They think they just came up with it after they read Shirley MacLaine's book, or after they read after they went to see Ramtha. Then they think, oh well, I can do that too.
Yeah.
But this did not begin in the 70s. We know both in Scandinavia. You've always had a strong tradition there of I know from my own Swedenborgian grandparents, that this has been a tradition, to believe that there is another dimension, that we can contact another dimension. But who will accept that in 1921 we have Maria Orstick sitting there channeling from the Aryan or the Elohim
Yeah.
or the elder race how they are to create these spaceships.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's tradition, and we can only present it as theory,
Yeah.
that the Nazi scientists did get either a crashed UFO or the aliens themselves came and made a deal with the Nazi scientists.
Yeah.
We do know that Hitler, and this is the whole thing with the master race, he wanted, when the coming race that Bueller-Lytton writes about,
Yeah.
when they presented themselves, he wanted to be certain that the whole saga that we see in Nordic tradition, that the German people were now, they were Odin, they were Thor, they had carried on the Nordic tradition,
Yeah.
they were the master race, they were now fit to breed, to intermate with the master race, the supermen from the hollow earth.
Yeah.
I mean, and, this just blows traditional history apart.
It does. It sure does.
I mean, this is what that nutcase Hitler was trying to do.
Yeah.
Is to create the German, which is why, again, he made overtures to the Scandinavians.
Yeah.
And of course we know there was, a Viking, there were some Scandinavians who bought into that.
Yeah, of
that,
course.
Yeah, so they had the various Viking groups that came with the Nazis, but we know that overwhelmingly the Scandinavian people say, Adolf, you don't have it together. This is nuts. This is crazy.
Yeah.
But this is what he was doing. He was building up so that the Germans would be the master race.
Yeah, of course. And this is, and just as you say, an old story. It goes back to, even before, I guess, Helena Blavatsky brought it out through theosophy, and which connects with Rudolf Steiner, and and she, of course, talked about the Aryans also. But this might be a difficult question to answer. But could it be possible that through the actions of the thing that happened there in Germany, and with Hitler and the Nazi party, to kind of put the lid on this box forever with a maneuver like this, because now of course we are not allowed to even almost research this stuff, because these were the kinds of crazy ideas that led up to Hitler, and I mean, could it be such a grand conspiracy, so to speak, to try to just debunk all of this and for once and for all lay this aside?
Well, I will make the argument that the benevolent beings are the one who direct certain of us to continually call attention to this misinterpretation of these messages that are more ancient than we are.
Yeah.
Because we know inside of every one of us is a Hitler and is a Gandhi. Inside every one of us there is a Jesus and there is a Satan.
Yeah.
And the challenge here on earth is always balance, discernment, balance. That's what we've come here to learn.
Yeah.
So I think the example of how, whenever you, and you means all of us,
yeah.
Whenever we ignore the basics and we become greed, we emphasize self over others, we emphasize, that's sin, and I don't like to use that word.
Yeah.
But in this classic sense that you will hear it being used, to me, there is only one. Everything stems from that, and that's greed.
Yeah.
Whenever we think of putting ourselves, our concerns before others, the basic golden rule, which is in every philosophy, that is what we are to learn. And the minute we begin to distort it with a power trip or thinking that we ourselves in our little coterie, those who agree with us and everyone who disagrees with us is evil. Everyone who disagrees with us is going to go to hell. We are the special. We are the elite. We are the chosen. That is what we are to learn. And there are some of us who will keep bringing this up so we don't forget that lesson.
Yeah.
We all have the cosmic heritage that has been given to us. We can all be so much more than we believe and that people tell us to be. We do not have to be limited by what others declare as our physical limitation. We know that there is this force that interconnects us all. And when I say that, people start to chuckle and say, "Oh, are you talking Star Wars?" And I was saying, no, this is probably the basic law that was taught to the most ancient of Egyptian mystery schools.
Yeah.
But remember, George Lucas was lying there as a young man, battered from a terrible accident, and had this vision of a force that connects. He just got the same message that so many of us do, that there is this force that connects us all, and that we are just, we are all, every cell, every living cell of everything is interconnected. We're all one. And the minute we have the perversion to say that we are so unique and we are so special that other people don't count and my needs come first, this is what we have to keep warning about.
Yeah, exactly. And I totally agree with you, of course. And you know, all these different subjects. You know, as we said in the beginning, there is a rise in the interest in the so-called paranormal subjects. And you know, I've been doing my site, I guess, for about 2 or 3 years now. The way that I do it now, and so forth. But to me, it seems that, you know, more and more subjects are kind of merging together. You know, that we just now when we have this conversation, we can easily meander over, ghost over to UFOs, over to secret societies, and all of these kind of things seem to connect.
Because it's all one.
Yeah, and it's all one, exactly. And you know, is this something that you have seen coming in the recent years, or have you always seen that this was the case, that all these subjects kind of connect?
Well, when I had my near-death experience, and